Good morning, everyone. My name is Nanaka. This is Matt and Philippa. This is Kakadu, the red outline, and inside of Kakadu is Mirarr Land, the yellow one. Our ranger group, Djurrubu, is set up by Gundjeihmi Aboriginal Corporation to look after country. Our land, we love to fish and hunt the waterways. Salvinia is a aquatic weed that was introduced from South America and was discovered in Kakadu in the 19s. Sudweed is what happens when the Salvinia gets so thick and that grass and vines grow over it, and that trees and waters will be covered. Sud busting is breaking up the suds by spraying with chemical and burning them. Then after it's broken up, we put the weevils in, so it eats the new Salvinia. After that, when the water comes, it makes it easier for the water to flow, and it breaks it up. The work that we've done improved the health of the water at the Billabongs. We can catch fish and collect turtles and fire snakes and freshwater mussels, and it makes it easier for us to see the crocodiles. Because of the amount of the animals that have come back, this is a good indicator of the healthy system.
So part of our program that we've got 8 breeding tanks. They're 12,000 litre tanks at our ranger yard. We collect the Salvinia from the wild, put it in the tanks and grow the weevils up. Each tank has about 4,000 weevils in it before we're going to release them. So that's the little critter up there. He looks big there, but really is only about 1 or 2 millimeters big. They eat Salvinia non-stop. They breed prolifically. They lay about 3 or 4 eggs a day. So when we release into the Billabongs, we release like large amounts of weevils at a time. Photos, I'll go back a bit. That's what the Billabong used to look like before we started the program. That's about 4 years ago. We started introducing weevils out there. And what Simon is talking about, what he's talking about, that's the same Billabong in the background. He's talking about how healthy the country looks, how good of a job we've done restoring it back to what it used to be like before Salvinia turned up. And
hello, my name is Simon Majali, and I am one of the Mirarr traditional owner. As you can see where we are today, this is the spot that we couldn't fish or hunt for wild snake because of Salvinia.
Are you happy today that you can see the waterways clear because of the weevil work?
Yes, the Weevil done a very good job with the waterways now, because for the past few years it wasn't like this. Before it was just all Salvinia all over here, and yeah, it's really good now that the Weevil have done its job.
Yeah, so we've been monitoring and releasing weevil for 4 years in this waterways. So that's what you can see at the background.
Look right now that the Weevil has done so much things. We can come back here, we can fishing and get some wild snake when it gets to dry season.
One other aspect of our breeding, what we do, we also sell the small weevil. So this one up here, we've sold weevils to AACO. Palmerston City have got a real bad problem, as you can see in the middle there. So we're in the progress of helping them. And other ranger groups, we just supply them weevils so they can start up their own programs and work on their own country, getting rid of Salvinia. Hopefully with our help, we think we've got on top of how to breed the weevils really prolifically, and we think we're good at it. Thank you. Any questions?
Hello, hello. Yeah, there's a roving mic here for questions.
Hi, thanks for that. I was just wondering, when all the Salvinia dies, what happens to the weevils?
Yeah, the weevils just die off too. They're host specific. They're not another cane tail.
Yeah.
Hi, thanks for that. I might have missed this. It might have actually been in the presentation. I'm a bad listener. Where do the weevils come from?
Yeah, they come from Brazil, same place as the Salvinia came from.
Okay.
Yeah, so they one of their natural enemies, and that's what eats it over there.
And second question, in the instance where you've got the Salvinia and it isn't covered by that second coverage of grasses
The
and
sedges
stuff,
and stuff, yeah.
you don't have to do the herbicide. You can just apply the weevils straight away.
It depends how thick the Salvinia is. If it's been there a couple of years and there's no sedges growing on top, it gets really thick. So we do put a chemical application just to break it up a bit, and it gives the weevils a bit of a head start as well.
Thank you.
Thanks for that talk. That was great. When you release the weevils, do you pick them off the Salvinia in the tubs and then place them on, or do you just plant Salvinia?
Yeah, no, I didn't get to talk about that. So what we do, out of the tubs where we grow them, so they're in there, they're breeding. We've got the whole life cycle. So we get the Salvinia, because the Salvinia's got the larvae and juveniles and the adults, and we release the whole lot under the Salvinia that we're trying to treat, but we treat it in large numbers. So normally we try and release upwards of 4,000 weevils at a time. So there's just a big impact fast. So they got the whole life cycle and away they go.
Just an interesting question is can fish eat the weevils?
I'd say they would, but the weevils are up on the leaves and tucked into the root system, so they'd find it hard to get them. But if they did, it'd be minimal damage. There's a lot of weevils, they breed fast.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you out there. Enjoyed that. Just had a question with if to be sustainable to do this ongoing, is there much cost involved in the breeding, or is it pretty minimal?
Yeah, there is this real time consuming, because we have to get the tanks up and going. We've sort of got to get the food twice a week for the weevils, and that's time consuming. It's like 3 to 4 hours, sort of every 2 days.
Mostly labour costs.
Labour costs, yeah.
Yeah, great talk. Is it possible to eradicate it from your country, or is it going to be year after year after year continuing operation?
You'll never eradicate it. Once it turns up, it's just controlling the areas that you want to utilise.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Can I ask a question about the Djurrubu Ranger group themselves, and just give us a little background on when did you start and how many people are involved, and maybe your funding?
We're solely funded by Gundjeihmi Aboriginal Corporation out of the money from mine royalties. They wanted to start up a ranger group, so they formed us. There's six females and 11 males, I think, in the ranger group. So we started in 2016.
What herbicide is used?
At the moment, it's Bioactives 360. That, because we're in Kakadu National Park, we're sort of governed by what's allowed in the park and what's can be applied on waterways. So it's just glyphosate.
Okay, great. So please thank Noni, Philippa and Matt for the presentation. It's great having you.